Hello, welcome back to Zalen Fashion. My name is Oderin the Kabirat. Please, if you are new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and share. And if you're a returning subscriber, thanks so much for tuning in. So today, I'm going to be teaching you how I made this beautiful Bubu dress with pockets. So without further ado, let's dive right into our video. So first of all, what I did was I folded my fabric into four. Like, I mean, you fold it first into two, then fold it again. So that's four because we are cutting the front and back. So now I measured 1 inches where my measurement will start from. So that's where my measurement will be starting from. Then I went ahead to connect my lines like so. So now that I'm done connecting my lines, I'm going ahead to take my measurements. So first of all, I'm going to be taking my half length, which is my shoulder to waist measurement, which is 17 inches. Then I went ahead to connect the lines like so. So after connecting my line, I went ahead to take my shoulder to hips measurement, and my shoulder to hips measurement is 25 inches. And you can as well place your tape on your waist, then take your waist to hips measurement. It all depends on you, but for me, I took my waist to hips measurement, which is 25 inches. Then I marked 25 inches, then connected my lines together like so. So the next measurement I'm going to be taking is the length of my Bubu dress, and the length of the Bubu dress I'll be using today is 42 inches. So I went ahead to mark 42 inches, then I connected my lines together. Now we are going to go ahead to determine our sleeves, how long you want the sleeves to be. So the sleeves for me is going to be 15.5 inches. So I went ahead to mark 15.5 inches, then I came down by 1 inches from that point. So this is how you take the measurement. Place your tape from the nape of your neck down to wherever you want your sleeve to get to. I hope you understand what I just did. So now I'm just going to go ahead to take my standard neckline measurement. Don't mind me, the 4 was a mistake. It is 3 inches. Then from that 3 inches point, I'm just going to go ahead to connect it to that 1 inches point I came down from my shoulder. So now you're going to determine how wide you want your sleeves to be. So in my case, I made it 9 inches. Then I went ahead to connect it like so. So now that we are done doing that, I'm just going to go ahead to connect it from my shoulder point down to the opening of my sleeve. I hope you get what I'm saying. So now I'm just going to go ahead to take my waist measurements divided by 4, which is 8, plus 2 inches for ease. That was why I marked 10 inches, plus half inches sewing allowance. That's why I'm adding half inches. So for my hips also, I went ahead to divide it by 4, then added 2 inches. It is 11.5 plus 2, that's 13.5 inches. That was why I marked 13.5 inches. Then I added half inches for sewing allowance. So I'm just going to draw it so you'll be able to see this part also. So for the hemming, I'm just going to take the same measurement I took on my hips on this line, which is 13.5 inches plus half inches sewing allowance. Then I went ahead to connect my lines like so. So I used a curve to connect my waist to my hips. So what I did was just that I took my bust measurement on this line, then added 2 inches plus half inches for sewing. That was why I marked 11. Initially my bust divided by 4 is 8.5 plus 2 inches, that's 10.5, plus half inches for the sewing. That was why I marked 11 inches. So I just went ahead to do a curve, like I just use this curve, and you can also use your hand to do a free sketch and connect it to the opening of your sleeve. So after doing that, I went ahead to determine how wide I want my neck to be. So I used 4 by 4 inches for the front, so I connected it using my curve like so. Then I went ahead to determine how deep I want my back to be, so I'm using 1 inches for my back. Then I went ahead to connect it like so. So after connecting, I went ahead to take half inches all through on my shoulder. Then also I went ahead to take 1 inches to end my sleeves. Then I went ahead to take 1 inches also to finish this point. Then I went ahead to connect the 1 inches I took on my sleeves opening to hem it. Then I also connected my half inches on my shoulder just like so. Now that we are done doing that, I'm just going to go ahead to cut it out all through from that point. First of all, I'll be cutting out my back before taking it out to cut my front. So I'm just cutting it all through. Then I'm going ahead to open it up. So after opening it up, I'm just going to take out the back piece, then fold it back, so I'll be able to cut out the neckline for my front piece. So now that I'm done folding it, make sure you're folding it properly. Go ahead to cut out your front neckline. So after doing that, I went ahead to fold another piece of fabric for my facing. So I placed my front piece on top. Then I went ahead to measure 3 inches on my shoulder. So after measuring my 3 inches, I went ahead to cut out the neckline up to the shoulder. That 3 inches point I marked, you're just going to stop at that point. Then take out your front, the main fabric, then come down by 3 inches from that neckline. Then just go ahead to do a freehand sketching up to that 3 inches point on your shoulder line. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say right now. So after you're done doing that, just go ahead to cut it out. So this is what our front facing looks like. I'm also going ahead to do the same for the back piece. This is our back piece now. So now I'm just going ahead to place my front facing on top of the main fabric, then sew by half inches on the neckline. Also for the back piece, I'm just going to go ahead to sew by half inches on the neckline. So now I'm going ahead to cut out the pockets. I just went ahead to draw a straight line. Also I drew a straight line by the side to give me a straight pocket, or a perfect pocket. So now I just went ahead to take 8 inches, which is the length of the pocket. Then I drew a straight line. After drawing the straight line, I went ahead to determine the midpoint, which is 4 inches. So I marked the 4 inches point. Then from that point, by the sides, I went up by 1 inches on both sides, then connected it with my ruler like so to that midpoint. Then I went ahead to cut it out on my paper. After doing this, I went ahead to place it on my fabric. I pinned it down, then I went ahead to cut it out on my fabric. So I'll be needing 4 pieces of this because I'll also be needing it for the facing. So I'm going to sew it all through. So this is the facing, as you can see. So what I did was I just went ahead to cut out this very small one, same method, just a smaller version, to put on my bust part. So I just took my bust measurements, then placed it around my bust. Also for the 2 other bigger ones, I placed it just on my hips line. So I'm just going to draw a straight line
on my hips because I notched that part, if you can see it well. Then I went ahead to pin my pocket down just like so. Also for the other side, I just drew a straight line on my hips line, then went ahead to place the other pocket. I'm just drawing a straight line, so it's just going to be on the perfect place. So after doing that, I went ahead to place my back pattern on top. Make sure your back piece is aligning properly with the front piece. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm making sure it's placed properly. Then you're just going to go ahead to sew by 1/2 inches on the sides up to the sleeves down. Then sew by 1/2 inches on the neckline, I mean on your shoulder. So I'm just going ahead to take it to my machine. So after I was done, this is what it looks like. Please, if you enjoyed watching this video, this is the only way you can support me. Subscribe, like, comment and share. See you in my next video. Bye.